Like, for me, it's kind of hard not to, like, turn that part of me off because, yes, I'm trying to give my best. Like, for me to give my best is, like, I think it's my best way of respecting the other opponents. Like, I'm not just going to take it easy. Now, you're on a date or something, and
Okay.
it might be a little different.
And welcome to the first ever episode of Competing with Christ podcast. I'm Dwayne, the Coach Smith, and next to me is my favorite 6'5" athlete and my son, Kyle BK Smith. How you doing, Kyle?
Good.
Yeah? What do you think about this first ever Competing with Christ podcast?
I am excited to start this. What's so funny? I'm excited.
You're like a robot.
No, I'm excited to start this podcast and just to see where it goes.
See where it goes. All right, that's the way it would go. So, like I said, I'm Dwayne. This is my son, Kyle. We decided to call this the Competing for Christ podcast because we both like competition and we both love Christ. So,
Sounds
boom,
bam.
it's good enough, right?
Yeah.
So let's just get right into it. We don't have to do too much of an introduction. We can do that as the podcast just kind of flows over the years. We're going to be doing this for years, right?
Every day, every year. Every year we're going to be doing this podcast.
I don't know if it'll be every day or not, but at least once a week, hopefully.
At least once a week.
We should be able to do something like this. So, yeah. So my son Kyle, we were talking one time, and we just he said that basically everything's a competition. So I'm going to ask him to talk to me a little bit and tell me, because I disagree. I disagree that everything's a competition. But I want you to tell me or prove to me why you think everything's a competition. Just looking at me. Just looking at me. Look at me. What do you think? You're like a robot.
This is what I think. Well, the reason why I think everything's a competition is because, well, this is my thoughts. Okay, first let me just define the reason why I think about just competition in general.
Okay.
I just want to become the best version of myself in any possible way I could be.
Yeah.
And so to do that, I have to it's challenging. It's not, you don't just become that way just to become. You don't just become the best version of yourself just by doing it. You have to compete against yourself. You have to be better. You have to be better today than you were yesterday.
Okay.
It's like that's how I view competition. It's like, am I better than I am yesterday? Am I a better athlete, a better friend, a better son, a better brother? Am I a better, I'm competing against myself, really. And so when I think about competition, everything's competition. That's kind of what I mean by that.
Okay, so it's not necessarily every time you are with somebody or in a game or anything with other people that no matter what, everything's a competition, me versus you. Like in just a regular interaction or conversation, or does everything have to be a competition? Not me versus you, but just like you versus you? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, all the time. Even recreational play, I'm still, it's kind of hard for me to turn that part of me off. We were playing pickup basketball the other day with my old coaches, some of your athletes you had when you were coaching track and stuff. And, I was picking up full court. It's just a rec game or a alumni game. I was just like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I was like, what do you want me to do? For me, it's kind of hard not to, turn that part of me off because, yes, I'm trying to give my best. For me to give my best is I think it's my best way of respecting the other opponents. I'm not just going to take it easy. Now, you're on a date or something, and
Okay.
It might be a little different. The skill set's different, but I'm not. And I was asked this question too from Spanky Kepler's dad. No one really knows who that is, but she might later in the future. But I was like, will you let your girl, first date, you take them on to what's it called?
Putt-putt?
Putt-putt? Yeah. Take them on to putt-putt. Are you going to let them win? If they beat me, then that's good for them, but I'm not going to let them win. I'm not that good at putt-putt, but I'm going to give my best, you know?
Right.
Now, if we play the same against basketball, all I'm going to do is just, I'm not going to give it I'm not going to make sure I'm winning 11-0, but I'm definitely not going to just let the other person win. I'm going to make it fun, competitive, where I'm going to challenge her to be the best she can be. And then for me, it's still somewhat of a challenge for me to be how can I make this the best experience for the both of us, where I get, where I feel like I'm benefiting it, and that the other persons feel like that they're benefiting from it. So that's kind of how I see things.
Okay. So in order for them to feel like they're you feel like they are benefiting from it, you don't think that letting them win is part of that?
It can be.
So you would let them win?
It's not every time. I don't know. It's a case by case basis. I don't know. I would imagine playing with your kids or something like that.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. If you're playing with the kids,
they gotta know who dad's on top. No, but and for example, when we played growing up,
yeah.
You didn't. Well, maybe you did let us win, but I didn't feel like every single time that we won was because you let us win. I feel like when me, Luke, and you were playing, I'm 21. When we actually did accomplish our goal, it's we felt so accomplished. It was right. We did something. That's difficult. That's the final boss.
Yeah,
and we did it, and I feel like that's so much more rewarding if you just know from the past that your dad just keeps letting you win. So it's you have to set a standard, and I feel like that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think when we are like that was a great example in 21. When you're playing that, what was it? Every basket was a point, and a 3-point was 2 points or something like that. And then you'd get to shoot the free throws or whatever. If I was just out and just every single time, we were playing and I would score, it'd be 21-0 when you were younger.
Kids, that didn't happen. That didn't happen too often. Once we grew up, it was a little bit different.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, to let you score some points and still win, maybe, is still because you feel like you're benefiting from it. You're having fun, but you're not just getting murdered.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So that's a good example. I don't know. Do you think that? So this was a question I think posed by. It might have been Luke or it might have been you. I can't remember. The idea of do you like winning better, or do you love to win, or do you hate to lose? Was that the question?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, that's a question I think a lot of athletes get. But I feel and I think a lot differently than I probably did in the past, where I used to be I love to win, and now then I was I just hate to lose, so I don't want to lose, so I just try to win. But Kobe Bryant just recently was asked a similar question. I forget, on some talk show, and he was
not recently,
but recently in terms of
rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Inspiration to us all. I was talking to Mom about this too.
Yeah.
I wasn't always a huge Kobe Bryant fan until after he passed away. I got to recognize all of the good that he's done.
Yeah.
And how much of inspiration he was for people all over the world. It's you don't realize how big of an impact he had. So, I think he takes seriously just getting better 1% every single day. And I think that a lot of people can look up to him as a role model to do just that as well in their own lives.
Yeah.
But he was asked a similar question on a talk show, and he said neither. He's I was it's for him, he sees success is great, but failure is also an opportunity to learn and grow.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how I've been framing it too. It's I do not like to lose. I don't really like to lose. And so in everything, I do my best to win. But when I lose, it's not the end of the world. It's I see it. It's actually it's nice because I'm not as good as I can be, and that's exciting because there's always something more to push yourself to be better. And so that's kind of how.
Yeah.
That's kind of I don't know if that answers your question, but that's my response.
Well, that's all right. I'd love to know, those who are watching this in the chat, if you can just put down whether or not you love to win or hate to lose more, and or what Kyle said, neither, and let that the failure is an opportunity to get better, right? Get to learn. So yeah, put that in the chat if you are doing that. I just because when people say that they hate to lose, like, I mean, we've played with people who like get physically upset and just like emotionally upset when they lose. I'm pretty mild mannered kind of guy anyway. It's hard for me to. I don't see that at all. I mean, I can't understand it, me personally. But maybe some of you guys, or maybe you've ever felt that way. Like, I mean, when I've lost a big game, even then, I can remember losing a district championship game in high school, and I was just like, and some of my teammates were upset with me because I didn't have that guttural, just like disdain. But our season was over. I don't know. I just have a hard time. I can be sad, but I can also be. It just doesn't really kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's like that.
I understand. I think it might just depend on the season and what's going on. I think one of the saddest I've ever been that season was over. It wasn't even like we played to the last game. We made it to the national finals for Christian Nationals at Grace College for soccer, and we end up losing at the national finals, and it was very sad. And not because we played the entire season, so it wasn't like even if we did win the game, it wasn't like, I mean, that would have been great. Like, we would have gone home in happy spirits. But the fact is, it wasn't sad that we lost the game. It was more sad that the season that was over. Like, that was, for me, my sophomore year was like one of my favorite athletic seasons I ever had in my entire life. And it was just like the bond that I made with my teammates and the spirit, the camaraderie between us. It's like, was something I hadn't experienced in the year before, and I was like, I want to go back to that. And that season's over, like, and some of these seniors that were on that team are going to be gone. And like, for me, that was sad. But the fact that we lost, that's the part of life, kind of like the Kobe Bryant said, and like failures is a part of life too. It's just like I feel like we're wired the same way. It's like I don't like to lose, but you just recognize, take it what it is, and you move on.
Yeah.
Next time will be different.
Then the opposite is like loving to win. Like, what is that emotion?
Yeah, I think and I don't have this. I don't swing both ways either. It's like it's like when I win, it's a very good feeling to have.
Yeah.
But it's not everything either. It's like I'm actually not like, it's just if anything, it's a verification that you're doing something right. It's like good. Like,
yeah,
like
right.
We're on the right path. Like either individually or on team sports, like we're doing good. Like there's always room for improvement, but it's like keep on doing what we're doing because this is what's getting us wins to achieve our goal. And so, but I don't live for the actual win. It's more for like the recognition that we accomplished something. That's satisfying it within itself.
Right. But on a one-on-one basis, more or less, it can be, and this is where I think where competition is not always good as far as trying to win, is like when there shouldn't be a winner, like when you're trying to collaborate or whatever. But the idea of loving to win, and you have this feeling of basically, I beat you, I'm better than you. Like that, if that kind of ego motion gets into it, I think that's where we get into trouble. I don't know. It's like, I want to win just because I want to beat you, or I want to put you in your place, or I want to win because it's a confirmation of me getting better. It's a put down on my competitor. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I'm here to
show you that I'm better than you.
Yeah, and I want you to know that.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's a danger.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, chat, comments, whatever the people I fall in that cat. I could get in that headspace too. Like,
I think everybody can in some point. I think everybody can, but no, I think that's the danger part. But I think we pretty much agree on that. We have what do you think then is the just purpose in general? What should be the purpose of competing? Do you think everybody should compete in something?
Yes. I think to answer your question, the purpose for me is to get better. Like as it's not even to win; it's to get better. Like that's the purpose of competing is to be better. The better, and I keep saying this again: 1% better today than you were yesterday. I mean, that's the kind of the mindset.
Where does that come from? Is that the
comes from a lot of things. There's Coach Weekly. He had a guy. I think Coach Kayla came over to one of our practices, and that's one of the
You're
things.
just throwing out names, but these are some of your high school coaches.
Yeah, sorry. Coach Weekly is my high school coach, my high school basketball coach, and one of my most biggest role models in my personal life, and but he invited Coach Kellogg. He's former NBA player.
Oh, Kellogg. Clark Kellogg.
Yeah. What I say? Kellogg.
Yeah, I don't know. You said Kayla something.
Yeah.
But whatever. Clark Kellogg.
Yeah.
Who's the announcer for the March Madness.
Yeah.
And was a Ohio State Buckeye basketball player and played at Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy. He came over, and that was one of the messages that he gave. And that always stuck with me because Coach Weekly ended up using that same message and just every single practice, hey, are we getting 1% better, 1% better? Just recently, I just came across an Instagram influencer named Corey Roy, KoreyRowe, and that's all it's on his bio, 1% better. And it's got me thinking about that a lot, just my past and my experience in basketball and whatnot, and
I heard it on or read it in the book Atomic Habits.
It's also in that
James
book too.
Clear.
James Clear's books, Atomic Habits. It's a very popular saying. I'm sure Clark wasn't the first one to say it.
Right.
Or James Clear. So,
but that's where you remember it from.
Yeah, that's where I remember it from.
Yeah. So that's the purpose of competing, in your opinion, just to get better. You think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good.
Or else why compete?
Yeah. Is it always in sports though? Where do you compete in? I mean, would you consider school competition?
Yeah. For me, it's I was just having this conversation. I was in a meeting today, and we were talking about academics and whatnot. And for me, when I don't know if it's competition in terms I'm trying to be have a better grade point average than my classmates or something like that. That's not what I'm thinking. But for me, it's an opportunity for me to it's I love school. I still do, and the reason why is because it's an opportunity for me to show myself what I'm made of, and that's my head. It's an opportunity to perform. When I get to a test, I'm it's an opportunity to perform, and it's I'm putting the hours in to get the grade I want to achieve. And even if I don't get the A, I get a C or even a D. I know I did everything in my power to get an A, and I just didn't get it. But at least I could lie, peaceful and calm.
Yeah.
And just I literally just gave it my best, and I got a D for it. But I'm not going to be mad at it. I literally did everything I could to get this D.
Right.
So, and that's kind of how.
You didn't get a lot of D's though. Did
No.
you?
But
if you did, sometimes I can remember sometimes where I deserved a D.
Yeah.
And sometimes I actually got an A when I deserved a D because I didn't really prepare much.
Exactly. No, same here.
And I don't feel I kind of feel good about it. I think just because I, finessed the system or whatever. But it's not as rewarding. I think as when you work hard and get something.
And if you put D effort, I've put D effort and I got a C, I'm it's to me when or maybe F effort, I'm not even trying at all. And you get a C or a B, and in those moments you're just I reap what I sow,
right.
Because honestly, B means average. But honestly, no one really thinks C is average. No one thinks C is average. Everyone's
Right.
That's I put below average effort into it, and I get an average grade. And that's
but I think you're right. And as far as it makes you competition makes you better, and even in the academic world, if you get a professor or a teacher who grades super easy, then you don't put in the effort.
Yeah,
I mean, it's I don't have to try, and I can still get an A. Mm-hmm. And so you don't actually, even try. So you aren't actually getting better because you're not getting pushed.
Yeah.
I suppose that's with anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some people have a hard time, like in sports or whatever, if they don't have to work really hard, and then but they're better than other people just naturally. Like they will just, like, they're always starting on the squad, or they everyone in the team looks to them because they're the better athlete or whatever, and they don't actually work at it. And then when they get to the next level where people are working at it and they fail, they don't really know how to handle that sometimes. But I do think that being able to push yourself and being pushed makes you try and work harder.
No, I agree. I think that's why it's talking about siblings. Like I'm a twin. You guys might not know this, but you will in the future, and you know that. I guess you know now. But having a twin brother really like Luke and I. Well, Luke was always the best growing up, and I was always right there behind him in terms of when it ever came to anything athletics, and I was always number 2, so I was better than the rest. Say in a when it came to running or something growing up, but I had Luke as my competition.
Yeah, right.
And it's I wasn't and if Luke wasn't in my life, I don't think I'd be the person I am today. And I think Luke would say the same, because the moment I'm starting catching up to him, he goes his thing. There's Luke and I were reflecting on a story recently where once, because you would have us run a mile every single day. And for us at that time, that was a long time to run, a big distance.
Right.
One day, Luke wakes up and by choice, sometimes you tell us, "Hey, I want you to run 3 miles, do something." This is the first Luke by choice. He goes upside and runs 3 miles, and I'm and he comes back down and is all sweating. He's "I just ran 3 miles." I'm like, "What?" And then I just I'm not. And then I ran. No, that's actually no. I'm getting the story completely mixed up. I made that choice.
Okay.
And I came home and you didn't tell me. And then I ran 3 miles. And then Luke goes, "What?" Luke, the very next day, I think, goes out and comes back as I ran 6. And then I was like 6. One was a lot for us.
Right.
I thought 3 was just my way of showing hey, you're this is my time to shine now. Your time to shine's over. It's my time. And then Luke goes out and runs 6. And then and then that's when a couple of days later I go out and run 13.
Seriously?
Remember when you picked me up at the Strawberry Farms?
Oh,
that's why that happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was trotting. I was dying. I was 13. But that's kind of but that's how Luke and I's relationship's always been since growing up.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. That's the iron sharpens iron type idea that Scripture talks about. Making oneself better. Yeah. I think that's good. So, just knowing that our podcast, our main theme, competing for Christ, kind of comes from 1 Corinthians 9, 24 through 27. I'm just going to read that real quick.
Read it.
I'm using Scott's Bible. This is Paul talking to the Corinthians. "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." I just love that. I just love that. I used to, when I was coaching high school varsity soccer. That was one of the things that I would talk, especially during conditioning week. I would like this one. The version I had said, I buffet my body, or another version was beat my body and make it my slave. And so I would be, you guys, I'm the one that started you guys running up the hill at Hoover Dam. And, or maybe it was Coach Grant. I can't remember. I think it was me. But that pain that you feel is like, no, you got to beat your body, make it your slave. You are in control of your body and not your body in control of you kind of idea. But it comes from that verse, being able to push yourself to the limit mentally. You got to beat up on your own body and make it your slave. But no, I love that scripture. And I do think that it's relevant to every aspect of life. It's not just running and boxing and things like that, but in life, you want to, compete.
I agree.
You got anything else to add
to that
that you can think of, either to that or to anything?
I think if we go back to reflect, I want to reflect on that more before I speak on that verse.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we're going to reference that verse again.
Yeah. Oh, we will, because when we talked about today, the purpose of competing, I think ultimately our purpose is to serve Christ and to glorify him through whatever we do. So when you're saying, I want to be the best person I possibly can be, but for what purpose? Just so you can be the best? Or do you want to make a lasting impact on the lives of other people because you are at your best? And it goes with our warrior creed that, when you're at your best, people will notice. They're going to notice that. And hopefully in you, they're going to notice Christ. That's the goal of anything that you do.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that, because we were just talking about that in a coaches meeting that we had recently with the Word and Christian, and it's not just that's just like why it's like it doesn't just like we're talking about frustrations we might have when coaching athletes, and a lot of us said a big frustration of us is just like when either like we want something more than our own athletes, or they just don't have that desire to be or willing to go into like a pain because it's painful.
Yeah.
But we as coaches or as former athletes, we know that pain's how you get to where you want to be in the future. So don't quit. And to deal with those athletes who just look at that pain to stop, it's like, frustrating. And it's like, don't you want to be better? And one of the coaches in the chat was like, because we were all just focusing on like, just getting better because like you said, because the principles that you learn in sport don't just apply just in that sport. They apply through life in general.
Yeah, exactly.
But then she reflects like, and it's like not even just in life. It's like for the purpose of serving Him, our Father. And I remember telling her, like, I'm glad that you said that, because sometimes I often forget, me personally, because I always think about my personal actions in terms of, like the reason why my purpose for like to being the best I can be because I personally believe that the world will be a better place if I do what I believe I'm able to do.
A better Kyle makes a better world.
Yeah. But what does that even mean, And I think when we look at Christ and what He's done for us, I think that's how we begin to know what that looks like.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that you said that, because it's also just helpful for me to constantly remind myself of that truth.
Right. We'll get into a lot of other stuff as we progress through this podcast, but let's just sign off on this very first episode. Are you going to drop the mic? Yeah. Drop the mic on this episode. Yeah. So, hey, just want you guys to hopefully keep tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And we just want you, as well as everybody else, to run in such a way that you will win the prize. Peace.